Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. We're going to introduce you to just a handful of our adoptable pets in this episode. Our first guest today is Zeniba, or Zen as a lot of people refer to her. She is actually our longest cat resident. She arrived originally way back in August, and shortly thereafter she moved into the Kitty Cabana, where she has been reigning as queen. She has been there for quite some time and has seen a lot of other cat roommates come and go. So one thing we do know for sure about this 3-year-old cat is that she does get along really well with other cats. You know, she's not always actively engaging them, but she is capable of kind of ignoring them as long as she has her own space. So she, depending on the cat, she can be playful and engaging, or she can kind of just stick to herself. So she should, with proper introductions, do really well in any multi-cat household. She's lived in there with just one cat, or I believe up to 2 other cats, possibly 3 during her tenure in that space. Because she's been in that space, it has given us a lot of information about her. She is a very affectionate cat. She will willingly come up and engage you and want pets and attention, but when she's done, she will walk away. And so it's just really important to respect those boundaries for her. She is also very playful and very curious. She's done really well, engaging with kids with toys. She particularly loves wand toys and loves chasing those. But she'll play with, whatever toy you're willing to offer to her. But she's not as, active all the time. She is quite capable of, being independent, hanging out in a window by herself, relaxing. She is a cat that does get the zoomies and is known for having quite adorable little zoomies there. So that's something that she's going to do in a home as well. We're not quite sure, how she's going to do with dogs. We don't really have a situation where she's been able to see or engage with those. In terms of humans, she's done really well, again, with humans of all ages. There have been kids that have come in there and hung out with her, as well as seniors, different things like that, and she's done well with everyone. But we do want people to be aware that Zeniba is a cat that is willing to enforce her own boundaries and make sure people are respecting her space. So she'll let you know when she's done and she's ready to move on, and it's just really important to follow up with that and make sure that you're listening to how she's communicating so that everybody can have, a great and happy relationship in the household. If you are interested in making Zeniba part of your family, then the first step is going to be going to visit fcac.as.me to book an appointment to visit with her. We have appointments multiple days of the week, multiple times, and we hope that you go forward and try to make this longest resident your new resident in your household. Our next guest today is Thor, another one of our feline friends. She's approximately 7 years old, so one of our senior residents. We tend to have a fair amount of senior residents in the winter. She's not been with us for quite as long as Zeniba. She's been here just since the beginning of January, and she is definitely a cat with a lot of personality. She's also a very striking cat. When you look at her, she definitely catches your attention. She's a domestic short hair, but she has a little bit of a thicker, fluffier coat, and she's got those great eyes. She definitely has a look that would lead you to believe that maybe she has some a Himalayan or something in there that has kind of a shorter face. So she has definitely a very unique look and just very striking eyes. And she's also very, very friendly. She loves attention. The volunteers are constantly interacting with her. She loves to be petted, and that's a good thing. She likes that because she does need some grooming maintenance. She's been struggling with that a little bit on her own. So we have been making sure that she's getting brushed, and we're making all of our adopters aware that that's something that she'll need on a regular basis once she gets into a new home. She is playful, things like that, does well with, again, any human that comes up to her cage. She's not as friendly when it comes to other cats, however, basing our judgments on how she's been reacting and interacting to the cats in the cages around us. We think she would be best suited for a life where she's the only cat in your household. She just doesn't really enjoy them. She's constantly, hissing, growling when she sees them. So we want to set her up for success in her new forever home. She is, again, a quirky cat. She's a little bit of a picky eater. She likes variety. She doesn't want to eat the same things all the time. And she's also a social eater, which is very common in the stressful shelter environment. She likes people to talk to her and hang out and pet her while she's eating. That really helps her. That's something that a lot of cats don't continue with when they're in a home environment. Once they're in a less stressful space and they feel comfortable and relaxed, they're more capable of eating on their own. But in the beginning, you might notice as you're transitioning her into your family that she wants you to hang out with her, or that she might be a little bit slow to eat. And she is overweight, so that's something that you want to talk to your vet about as well. How can I help her eat, but how can I help her eat in a way that is going to be healthy for her and get her down to that weight that they've determined is her ideal weight. Another medical thing that you want to make sure that you're aware of with Thor is that she does have a grade 2 out of 4 heart murmur. So we want everybody to read her medical records, make sure that they're okay with the information that's there. She has received many exams on that fact, and we have quite a lot of documentation regarding that. So just making sure that you're okay with that. Right now, it doesn't look like anyone is anticipating that she is at high risk for developing any other types of heart disease, but it is something that should be monitored, and you want to make sure that you're prepared for any potential veterinary costs that arise from that. But overall, she's a very sweet girl that's just ready to get into that retirement home and spend her golden years with a loving family. And if you want to be that family, the first step is going to be going to go to our booking website, which is visit fcac.as.me to start that process. Right now, we have quite a few animals living in the small animal room, but not as many as we have had. We have a handful of guinea pigs left, a couple of rabbits, a new parakeet, and then, of course, Lulu, our turtle, and our 2 bonded mice as well. But we're going to be talking today about Bella the rabbit. She is our newest member to our rabbit collection there, and she's about 3 years old. Unfortunately, she lived, her entire life with a family. And recently they decided that, their lifestyle didn't work well with owning a rabbit. So they brought her here to us so that we could find her a new home. She's a beautiful rabbit with a great coat. She's a black American mix, and just one of the sweetest rabbits we've had in a while. She's super friendly. She's very outgoing. She solicits attention. It's really important with rabbits and all those small animals that if you want them to be social and handleable, you have to socialize and handle them. And unfortunately, some of the rabbits and guinea pigs and things like that come to us and they're not as comfortable with being handled, but that's not an issue with Bella. She definitely solicits attention. I've introduced her to tours of troops of like Girl Scouts and the like, and she's done well just accepting gentle pets from a large group of girls. I've taken her in there other younger kids and to let them introduce and interact with her, so she's going to do really well as a family rabbit. It is important to understand the needs and in the proper care for rabbits before getting them. So I would encourage anybody who's thinking about it, especially if you haven't had a rabbit in the past, to definitely do some research. There's a lot of care needs. They need their regular veggies, they need their pellets, they need their hay. They do still need to, again, have social interaction. They need to have things to play with. They need to have things to chew on. And there's different ways to set up rabbits in your home. You can set them up in a more cage-like enclosure. A lot of people will use exercise pens for them. Some people will just have them free roaming like a cat. But you want to make sure that you're definitely bunny-proofing your home because they do chew on things. You want to make sure that your wires are protected because if they were to chew through some of those things, it could be a potential fire hazard. So you want to make sure that you're protecting your home as well as your rabbit. So definitely checking in on those things. Her family did fill out a profile for us, and they did let us know, things that she really likes in terms of treats. She likes celery and spinach and bananas. So they did provide us with some of that information. The rabbits here and the guinea pigs more often get things like lettuce and carrots and things like that. But she is going to be a great rabbit. I think even as a first-time rabbit, if this is going to be your new experience, she would be a great choice. And if you want to make that choice and you want to meet with her, the first step is going to be going to our booking website, which is visit fcac.as.me. First dog that we have for you today is Felicia, and she is one of 4 dogs that are about the same age. We're not sure if they're litter mates or not, but they all kind of came in at the same time. She's about 8 months old, and She is a dog with a lot of potential, like all of those dogs in that kind of age range, but she is a little bit under socialized. So she does need somebody who's willing to work with her and kind of teach her all of the ways of the world, that the world is a wonderful, happy place to be in, and good things come to you. She can be a little bit nervous about some things, but she's definitely, gaining confidence. She's going to need all of those things that any young dog is going to need, basic manners training, establishing those boundaries with them. But the good thing is that Felicia is super food motivated. She really loves a good treat. And another thing about her that's really an asset is that she's incredibly dog friendly. We have been doing parallel walks with her with other dogs. We've also been doing, play groups with her and the other young dogs that we have in this facility. So we have, Felicia, we have Frankie, we have Foster and Finley, we have Jules. We have a lot of dogs that are in that kind of 6 to 9 month old age range that we're definitely allowing to interact, and she's been doing really well with that. So if you are looking to add a second or third dog to your home, it's likely that with the proper introductions, Felicia would be able to slide right into that type of a home situation. She is, again, friendly, excited. She does well with dogs. She's easy to kind of get leashed up, but when walking, again, she's a little bit nervous. She doesn't necessarily have a lot of confidence, so she can lag behind a little bit, still working on those polite leash walking things. In terms of children that she can live with, we are not recommending young kids for her. We had someone walking through a child around 6, and it definitely made Felicia quite nervous. Her kind of hackles were going up. She was unsure of the child. So we're looking for kids that are in that older 6 and up kind of age range, who are, going to be able to read that body language and know that she's uncomfortable, and maybe make her less uncomfortable to start with. So that's something that you definitely want to consider. Another thing is she is one of 4 dogs that has kind of a genetic anomaly. They have some flat-footedness on their front feet. There's a lot of medical detail in their notes, which is why, again, it's always important to read those medicals. It doesn't seem to affect her from doing anything. She's, walking and playing and interacting as a typical dog would, but it is something that's a little bit unique to her and these other dogs that kind of came in at the same time. So definitely checking that out, reading that, talking to your vet if you feel like you need to, so that you have a full picture of what you're taking on when you make Felicia part of your family. And if you do want to do that, you need to go to visit fcac.as.me. Our next canine guest is Frankie, and Frankie has a unique look to him, but I think he's super cute. I love those ears. He is just a handsome guy, and he looks so cute when he sits. He's, again, one of those young dogs in the 8-month-old age range that are kind of come in together, and he's just a little sweetheart. He is definitely a little bit shy at first, but once he warms up, he's very loving, very affectionate. Much like the other ones, he is very playful, super dog friendly, doing well in all of those same play groups as Felicia. Really has a lot of potential, but you need somebody to help build his confidence and show him that the world is a safe and wonderful place to be in, that there's nothing to be afraid of, and that he can be confident and kind of take charge, because he is still a young dog who doesn't seem to have gotten a lot of basic manners training early in his life. He's going to need all of those things: house training, and learning to keep his feet on the ground, and to sit, and to walk nicely on a leash. And some of that is going to be easier than others. I found that he seems to have a good sit, not necessarily on cue, but he knows like good things come to him when he sits. But like Felicia, kind of lagging behind on leash. And those are things that, as our staff and volunteers have been working with them, they're gaining confidence in those areas. So when you come to meet them, you might see a slightly more confident dog than maybe you heard about, because we're constantly interacting with them and working with them every day, which is a good thing. Again, does really great in those play groups, but you do want to make sure that you're always doing proper introductions when you get your dog home. You don't want to just, take your new dog and, there's my old dog and they're just, together. You want to make sure that you're doing parallel walks and you're making sure that their body language is good. And we do give people a lot of adoption counseling on ways and best practices to, introduce your animals, resources if you can follow up if you want more information. So we want to make sure that that's going to be a situation that's going to go well when you get this guy or any of our dogs home to your family. And just like with any of our adoptable pets, we make sure that they're up to date on their vaccinations. We're doing preventatives for them. And Frankie's received all of those. We're also spaying and neutering all of our cats, dogs, and rabbits before they're going home. And like we discussed with Felicia and also Foster and Finley, he does have that kind of flat foot genetic anomaly going on with him, where the ligaments on his front legs are a little bit loose. All of these dogs have been, getting walks as kind of physical therapy. They've been working on those things. It doesn't seem to affect them and their ability to play and walk and generally be a dog, but it is something that you want to read through in their medical and make sure that you're comfortable with it, so that you're not taking on something that you feel like you might not be able to handle in the long term. And if you want to consult with your vet, we are happy to print off medical records for you to take in and show your vet and talk about it. You can talk to our medical team. If you also want some more information or clarifications, that's something that we're definitely able to provide to anybody who would want to make these guys part of their family. And if you do, you want to go to visit fcac.as.me to begin that process. Our last pet today is Meaty, and Meaty unfortunately came to us in one of the saddest ways that we obtain animals when their owner passed away. So Meaty, when his owner passed away, unfortunately, the next of kin in the family and friends were unable to keep him. So they were forced to bring him here so that we could find him a new family. He's about 3 years old. He's a shepherd mix, and he is a little slow to kind of warm up in the shelter environment, which is not uncommon when you're used to living in a home and you just had, the traumatic loss of an owner, because pets do grieve. It can be a little bit difficult to kind of acclimate to this new stressful environment. But when he warms up, he is a very friendly dog. He is a sweet guy. He's just kind of struggling to settle into this environment. He did previously live with another dog, so we do know that he is dog friendly, and he's reacted favorably to dogs in this facility. So he should, again, with proper introductions, do well in a multi-dog home. He is easy to get leashed up. He can be a little bit challenging to walk, like a lot of big dogs. He's about 70 pounds, so working on that polite leash walking so that he's not pulling is going to be important. A harness could be very beneficial in helping with that as well, but getting him, to those basics. All of our dogs really are still working on those basics: polite leash walking, sit, keeping your feet on the ground, those types of things. I will say our experience has been that he's been very affectionate, but he can also be a bit of a chatty dog, and it could just be because, he's a little bit stressed out here in this type of an environment, but he is definitely known for kind of barking and things like that. So taking him outside when when you're meeting him, asking, is he as loud outside? Is barking going to be something that's an issue for you if he's alert barking or things like that in your home? So that's just something that we've also noticed, but definitely understanding that because he's taking some time to settle in here, he may also take a little bit of time to settle into a home environment. So just being prepared for that, giving him his space, so that he feels, good, and knowing that every animal takes time to acclimate. The people who surrendered him to us did say that he was used to being around men and women. They did not list any kids, so we don't know about that. But we don't have any, recommendations that he can't live with kids of any age. So he's not showing us that he needs those types of restrictions. They do say that he's playful and energetic, that he is smart enough to figure out that maybe he can go under a fence. So keeping track of those things. Like most dogs, he likes to chew on stuff, things like that. So they did give us a little bit of additional information, but just really, he's looking for that kind of nice, safe landing space to make himself part of a family again. And if you want to be that family for Meaty, then you can go to visit fcac.as.me. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed meeting these amazing adoptable pets. Keep tuning in for more.